there we are. We have our Dianabol. We're now home. Me and my friend were sitting here and we're thinking, right, we're going to rock the shit out of this here cycle. Um, now looking back now, it seems a wee bit crazy. You're talking about rocking this shit out of your cycle when you're taking, 25 milligrams of Dianabol. But I mean, it was good stuff, and people all around us were taking it, and they were blowing up, and they were getting some crazy strength gains, and it wasn't unusual to put half an inch to an inch on your arm. It wasn't unusual to gain a decent little bit of size out of a small dose. Now, you don't need, well, for a lot of people, you don't need to use massive doses of orals. Now, a lot of the concern would have been that taking high doses of orals can cause liver damage. Now, I do remember one time somebody who wasn't as educated on steroids had actually been taking Anadrol, and they'd been taking it for, I think, 3 or 4 months. This guy was on it, and he ended up going to the doctor with back pain, and it turned out he couldn't eat, he was being sick and everything, and he had caused liver damage. He'd been out drinking at the weekend, he'd been out partying, really fucked his body up. Not a good way to be at all. We ran the Dianabol cycle for about 4 weeks. It was about 4 weeks we ran it for, and we gained 15 to 20 pounds, I believe it was. Going back here quite a wee while ago, and it was a good size. It was a good gain. I remember that the strength was insane. It really went through the roof, and that was probably the first thing we noticed, was that the strength was going up more than anything else. Now, for one of my other friends who took Dianabol as their first steroid, their first cycle, he must have been about 40 years old. He took 30 milligrams a day, and he was saying, his sex drive just shot through the roof, and his strength went up, all the rest of it. It's a pretty good drug to take, and that was the first one we ever took. At the time, I was still very unsure about taking injectables, which I later progressed to taking injectables, but at the time, I just wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for sticking a needle in my leg or whatever. It was actually kind of is intimidating. So we took it Dianabol, and one of the things that was always stressed to me by older bodybuilders in the gym was that you need to take as much water as you can. Drink at least a gallon of water a day. Keep yourself hydrated. Clean out your liver and kidneys, which I did. I made sure that was a priority, to drink a gallon minimum per day of water. And side effect wise, I didn't really have anything major. I guess one of the biggest things I did have, thinking back at it, was I remember walking with my girlfriend at the time, and we used to walk maybe 2-3 miles on a daily basis going to work. And I remember getting really, really powerful, like, shin pumps. It was like on the front of your leg, on your shins. I would get this crippling pump, and it would get so unbearable. I had to stop. I had to stop walking, and I got really, really sore. And I'm not too sure why that was, but that only ever happened whenever I ran Dianabol or oxymethylone. Could have been water retention, or I really don't know. But that used to happen. 25 milligrams of Dianabol a day. The side effects really weren't there. There wasn't anything of that was alarming. The blood pressure went up very slightly. Now, if I go over 50 milligrams on Dianabol, my blood pressure's always been shooting through the roof. I just can't handle it. And so in another video, I will share how about the time that we mixed oxymethylone with Dianabol. That was the cycle we ran for about, I think I lasted 3 weeks on that there. It was horrendous. It was just, the side effects were crippling, really severe acne, but we'll talk about that some other time. So Dianabol became a tool that I utilised often. I mean, it wasn't uncommon for us to have 5, 6, 7, 8 tubs of Dianabol sitting around, and you're talking, 1,000 tablets in a tub. Of course, we did that there, but we also got blood tests and everything done, and I never had any liver damage. I never had any kidney damage, luckily, thankfully. I never had any health issues from it. As I say, higher doses, yeah, blood pressure went up, but I wasn't really into running higher doses. I prefer lower doses, and the same for injectables. I would have run lower dose for testosterone, DECA, trambolone, etc. But Dianabol is certainly a steroid that has great memories for me. And, the thought of my older friend who was in his 40s at the time taking the 30 milligrams of Dianabol a day. And, as far as he was saying, his wife couldn't even walk straight. Once it really kicked in, his sex drive just took off, and he was. He was having a bit of fun with her on a daily basis every night, wanting to jump her bones. So I mean, that made their life a wee bit better as well. It helped him out, especially being in his 40s and everything. Whenever the male testosterone is going to be at a far lower level. So yeah, and the anabol's actually on a pretty strong anabolic reference. I think, what is it, 100 or something? If you look in the William Llewellyn's anabolic reference guide, I believe it's 100 for anabolic power. Fantastic drug, and it really does hark back to the days in the 1960s and all, whenever it was considered the in the world of Arnold Schwarzenegger, it was a breakfast of champions. It was a go-to steroid. It was something that people knew it worked, and it worked good every time. I don't think that Dianabol really ever stopped working for me over time. It always gave good results. It always gave results that were dependable. And of course, as time went on and you started to get underground labs coming out, you started to notice people who were taking 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams. I've known of people taking 150 milligrams of an underground steroid, which is apparently Dianabol. On underground steroids, I never really got into. I mean, living in Europe, it wasn't really something I had to get into, because you could get in an airplane and go and buy steroids legally in a pharmacy and bring them back into the United Kingdom. It wasn't a big deal. So, as I say, legitimate steroids were readily available in the UK. So I never had to bother with underground stuff. I think that sort of shows that the capabilities of obviously the Chinese powders in comparison to pharmaceutical grade is just, it's not even comparable at all. If I think if you were taking 150 milligrams of legitimate pharmaceutical Dianabol, the side effects for me would be absolutely crippling. I wouldn't be able to put up with it. So yeah, the biggest doses we ever did do was probably 50, and that was more than plenty. It really was more than plenty. It's if you a lower dose over a longer period. No, you don't need to use humongous doses. And yeah, so I think next video maybe we'll have we talk about other combinations of what we actually did do, and it'd be great to hear what other people are doing as well. So hit the like button and subscribe and hang around, and we'll talk about some more stuff in the future. Okay, thanks for watching.